name is Carlton Cartwright. I am the Executive Director for Veterans Memorial and Multicultural Histories Incorporated. Today is November the 16th, 2023, and it's Thursday.
Yes.
And it's the week before Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And we are here at Residential Acceptance Corporation, RAC Mortgage Banker. And Miss, what is your name?
Luvonne Nadine Holloway.
Okay, Miss Holloway. And when is your birthday?
It is 20 October 1961.
Okay, and where were you born?
I was born in Clearwater, Florida, in Morton Plant Hospital. However, I was raised in Largo, Florida, a town 5 miles from Clearwater.
Okay, okay. What rank were you, by the way, when you separated from the military?
I was a sergeant first class.
Sergeant first class?
Yes, in the Army.
In the Army, right. And why did you choose the Army anyway? Why did you choose that branch of service?
I was married to a Army military man, so I thought the Army would be best for me.
Okay.
Yes.
What year did you go into service?
I went in 1986.
1986?
Yes.
What were you doing prior to the military?
Prior to the military, I was stationed with my ex-husband over in Okinawa, Japan for 2 years. Came back home, and the job market was not as I thought it would be for me.
Right.
So I decided to join the military for travel purposes.
Okay. Where were you at the time you entered the military?
I was in Largo, Florida.
That's where you were living?
Yes.
Okay. So where was basic training?
Basic training was at Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Uh-huh. And how long was basic training?
Basic training was 8 weeks.
Okay. Okay. And what did it consist of? How was it? How did you get through it? How was the food? What were the instructors like?
Well, I had great drill sergeants. Used to run us alive, run us do extra physical training. I remember, and we trained hard there. You know, got over a lot of obstacles of heights. You know, didn't like the heights. I learned had a fear of heights doing basic training.
So,
yes, in the low crawling. I didn't like that so much. So I was surprised with a lot of things in basic training.
okay. It was a culture shock
Yeah,
also,
a culture
right?
shock, just a culture shock.
Right.
That would be it, yes.
And acclimate to that, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that was, you said 8 weeks?
Yeah, that was 8 weeks.
Okay,
Yes.
so where'd you go for your AIT?
My AIT was in Fort Benjamin Harris, Indiana.
And what does AIT stand for?
Advanced Individual Training.
Got it, okay.
Yes.
And where was it?
In Fort Benjamin Harris, Indiana.
How long was it?
That was about 8 weeks also.
And what was the MOS? What was the job?
I was a 75 Charlie back then.
What was that?
Personnel management specialist.
Okay.
Is what I signed up for, yes.
Did you have to qualify on any ordinance?
No,
Okay.
no.
So 75
Charlie.
admin?
Yes, that's personnel management specialist, yes.
Okay, and how long was that training?
That was about 8 weeks, sir.
Okay. So, duty base, what was your first duty base?
My first duty station being I was distinguished graduate from my AIT.
Oh, okay.
So I chose Chicago.
Oh, they let you choose where you wanted to go?
Yes.
Okay.
That was Fort Sheridan, Illinois.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Near Chicago?
Yeah, it was in Chicago.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
yes. Well, yeah, right outside of Chicago.
All right.
And Waukegan is right down from the Navy base, the Great Lakes Navy base. It's about 4 miles from there. Yes.
Right.
North Chicago.
And so, how long was that tour?
That tour was only about 16 months.
Okay. Then go back again. How long were you in the military altogether? When you went in 86?
1986, yes,
And-
January. Yes.
And you separated?
Yeah, retired in 31 August 2006. So I did 21 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. So, in Chicago, what was your job? Specifically, and you can be specific. And tell us about that. How long were you there?
I was there 16 months.
Okay.
In Chicago, it was cold. I was from Florida, first duty station, and first time I was in the cold like that.
Uh-huh.
So, wow. the Windy City. So we used to walk backwards to work.
Backwards.
Yes, yeah,
When?
a park on and everything. So it was fun.
Uh-huh.
So I had good sergeants there and everything, and I was new, had my little red nail polish. Couldn't wear that red nail polish and red lipstick and everything. So
None of that, huh?
none of that. So it was
Mhm.
hot on me there every day. So I actually worked promotions,
Uh-huh.
and I did the promotions for the recruiting command.
Mhm.
USAREC was there, so I handled the recruiters' promotion packets. Is what I did.
Okay.
And tour. Yes, sir.
Okay, and so what did you do for R&R?
Well, Chicago has a lot of nice areas because you got so many different nations of people there. So you had
Multicultural.
multicultural.
Right. Uh-huh.
So you had the Italian area. So
Uh-huh.
the food was great in that area. You know, and we hung out at Loyola University around those times for entertainment.
Okay.
And then downtown was so beautiful.
Uh-huh.
So we did a lot of things downtown Chicago. That was my outings.
So your living arrangement, your living quarters, what were they like?
Okay, I lived on Fort Sheridan, of course. So I had a roommate. It was two of us in the barracks at the
Okay.
time. Yes.
That's not bad.
No, it wasn't. It was
Wasn't
actually,
crowded.
it was really nice actually.
So, how did you get along with your peers, officers? How was the food on base?
I don't recall eating so much on base during my first duty station, you know.
You know, the economy, yeah.
But it wasn't bad. Obviously, it wasn't bad because I would have remembered. So it was great. It was a lot of things close by. It was a great duty station. And by the way, we had no weapons during this time. There was
Good.
no weapons there
Okay.
to qualify with. So that went like it in my training for 16 months. I didn't qualify with a weapon.
Right.
Yes.
So, where was your next duty base?
My next duty station was Germany.
Oh, where?
Yes, yes. I was stationed at First Perscom Command. This is in Schwetzingen, Germany.
Okay.
It was 10 miles from Heidelberg, Germany.
Heidelberg?
Heidelberg, yes.
Okay.
So
How long was the tour?
I did 2 different tours in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
So my first tour for 2 years was in Schwetzingen, Germany. Working at First Perscom, I managed the 25 series, half of the 25 series, which is the signal MOSs.
Mm-hmm.
So I did gain and losses for assignments, joint domicile, special assignments, language things. So I was an assignment manager there
Okay.
for 2 years.
All right. All right.
Yes.
You were the assignment manager.
Mhm.
So you pretty much.
Anyone incoming to Germany that was in the signal MOS, I managed half of that signal command.
So you were responsible to give people their orders.
Yes, to put their assignments in the system where they were going to go in Germany.
Right.
I assigned them in Germany.
Where did you get to travel while you were in Europe?
Oh, I did a lot of traveling in Germany. First place I went was Berlin
Mm-hmm.
for like a week. Went to Belgium, Luxembourg, went to Versailles, through there by way of on a ferry to London, England.
Okay.
The command went, and that was really neat. So I also went to a Volksschule to learn more German. So I went with a German tour to Mallorca, Spain, that was like a 7-day trip. And I caught the train from Mannheim down to Vicenza, Italy. I
Okay.
did that. So yeah, so I had a car, so I drove to the different installations on Saturdays,
Okay.
and a friend and I we would go over to France, Strasbourg,
Mhm.
Nice. We'd go over there for the chocolate eclairs on Saturday. It was like just an hour drive, breakfast. So it was fun. I enjoyed Germany. I did 2 tours,
Okay.
total of 5 years in Germany.
Back to back?
Yes, I went down to Heidelberg, actually into Heidelberg at the 26 support group is where I worked in promotions once
Uh-huh.
again. So I stayed there for like 2 years, so yes,
Okay.
it was beautiful.
All right. Um, so where was the next tour?
Next tour was Fort Benjamin. I went back to Fort Benjamin Harris for
In Chicago?
no, Fort Benjamin Harris, Indiana.
Oh, right.
hmm Yes. So now I'm assigned to it was called like Building One was there, in Personnel Center, pretty much. So I managed the levy section for movement of officers and enlisted that were with the functional area officers.
Right.
Those officers could be over in London, England somewhere, Oxford, England, at the banks working on the job training, doing things like that. So I ensured that they had all their paperwork to move them to their next assignment.
Okay.
So the break move happened at Fort Benjamin Harris. So then I got stationed at Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Okay.
And there I did a variety of jobs. That's where I was selected as a drill sergeant. So I was on the trail as a drill sergeant for 2 years there in basic training.
Wow.
I trained basic training.
How did you
Yes,
like
sir.
that?
That was it was a prestigious job. However, it was very demanding. Of your time. You just didn't have no time to yourself. And I was mostly single doing I was single doing most of my days in the military. I was
Okay.
single soldier. So I lived in the barracks for most of that assignment. So that meant 4:15. I'm downstairs with the soldiers, waking them up. In the garbage can. Time to get up and everything. So yes. So then I lived there. Most times I was the late person to stay and everything. So it was good. I trained over about 3,000 soldiers came through on my 9 cycles of training soldiers on basic training. Yes, sir.
Okay, next assignment?
And my next assignment was Korea.
How long were you there?
And that was up in the 2nd Infantry Division. So I was on a 7-mile radius on a straight line distance, kilometers, from North Korea. So I was way up there in Paju City, it was called.
And what is it?
And I was in 2nd Infantry Division,
Okay.
and I was at Camp House, it was called. I was just way up north.
Was it cold?
Very cold.
Very cold.
Very cold.
Right.
So there, I was responsible. I was the S1
What is that?
personnel.
Got it.
Non-commissioned officer. So I had about 6 soldiers there at that time, young soldiers. During that time, I was in the 2nd, it's called 2E, 2nd Engineers Battalion, but it was the brigade. I was at the brigade, S1.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
all right. While you were in Asia, where did you travel?
In Korea, then I was so far up, it was once a month was like awesome just to go down to South Korea. It was in South Korea, of course.
Was that Seoul?
But just to go to Seoul, Camp Corner. Yes, so that was just to get away was awesome in itself.
So what was Seoul like? What were the people, the civilians like?
It was good. I used to I would go stay at the Dragon Lodge once a month and get my hair done, nails done, that type of thing, and yes, get massages and things of that nature.
Okay.
Yes, and so while I was in Korea, I had Korean friends, and they really took to me a lot.
Okay.
So I would go and teach. What it was the first sergeant, he introduced me to Mr. Park and his agents. He was a travel agent there in Paju City. So he was teaching them English on Saturdays.
Right.
So he introduced me, so I became that person, their go-to person. So I would go over some places, we would meet, restaurants or something. And so I would teach them English, and I had books and things. However, I could not really pick up the English, their language, the Korean language, as I did the Japanese language. Totally different.
Really?
Yeah, totally different. So, but anyway, I had my Korean friends were Park and Cha. Cha worked for a military installation
Right.
as an engineer, civilian, and Silk, she worked at the travel agent. So I had a lot of good times there because they really would take me to different places to see in Korea. Yeah, no regrets there.
Okay, there was something else. Oh, how many different languages do you speak?
I'm not all so fluent in the
All right,
languages.
well,
That's about let's see, that's about 3.
English?
Yeah, English, Japanese, and I'd like to say a little Korean, German. Yes.
All right,
Yes, sir.
nice.
Yes.
So, by the time you got to Korea, you went into service in '86. By the time you got to Korea, what year was it?
That was 2000.
Okay, we're getting
Yes.
closer.
Yeah, getting closer now. Thank
That's
goodness.
14 years gone.
Yes, yes. It went
Okay.
by fast. Running those mountains in Korea was no joke. You know, running the mountains, was running around the mountains in the mornings. You know, it'd be slippery like slopes. You know, because it was really wet up there in the mountains.
Damn,
Yeah,
moist,
damn,
yeah,
and a lot of hills. And
and cold.
being I was in Second Infantry Division, it was way up north. It was mountainous.
Mhm.
So we used to run, so many miles, just straight up, straight down.
Right.
Yeah, it was very challenging as a female soldier, even though I thought I could run. I was maximum physical fitness
Mhm.
at that age. However, Korea was really challenging for that time that I was there.
The terrain.
The terrain
The
was
physical.
very physical, yes.
Uh-huh.
Very challenging, very challenging. And I consider myself a very athletic, NCO, yes. Yes.
So, what was your next duty assignment after Korea?
Korea, I went to 3rd Infantry Division. I was in Fort Stewart, Georgia.
Uh-huh.
So in processing, I raised my hand to go be an instructor at the.
You mean you
I
volunteered?
volunteered.
Oh my
You know,
God.
you should never volunteer anything. You should be voluntold. So I went down to teach it. It was PLDC at the time. It's the Warrior Leader.
What is that?
Primary Leader Development course.
Okay.
Sergeants to come to learn about leadership. So I was an instructor and platoon sergeant there at that time.
And how long was that tour?
That tour lasted. I was in a motor vehicle accident, so I really couldn't run like I used to,
Right.
and I needed convalescent leave for about 3 weeks. So they moved me down range, down more on post.
Okay.
It still kept me on post, but because the school, the PLDC school, was 15 miles from the regular post.
Right.
So I went down to a personnel center, is where I was, well, let me see. Nope, went down to a 26 support group.
Oh, what?
It was called 26 support group.
Gotcha.
And I was the S1. And there is where I deployed to Iraq in 2003. So,
Okay.
yeah, so.
How long was your tour in Iraq?
7 months. That was doing, I believe, Operation Operation Freedom, Iraqi Operation Freedom.
Okay.
One, it might have been one, yes. So I did that for about 7 months. That was a very challenging.
Why?
It's always challenging, for one, when you're female. Two, it's in the environment that we were in, fast-paced, and being that it was in a combat environment,
Okay.
very challenging.
Did you see combat?
Yes, sir.
You did.
Mhm.
And tell me about your experience.
There was times when traveling from Kuwait. Actually, when we was in Kuwait, there was times that we had to take cover because during that time, nuclear, biological, chemical warfare was told
Right.
at that time. So there would be Scud missiles incoming, helicopters coming in 500 miles out or so, whatever. So we took cover at that time. So we would, yes, because we did not know. The M25 machines go off and everything around the camp there. This is just in Kuwait before we even went through the berm and everything. So then I had soldiers. I remember this one particular time where we had the battalion was just getting there in the area. And so being that I was a drill sergeant, I was able to think quick and everything to tell everyone to, don their mask before they went outside the tent.
Right.
So we had to go and take cover in these water cement barriers that you would put underground for water.
Right.
That's what we went to crouch down into. Or you would stand on the side of the Carnex. That was your cover. And it was never enough for all the people that was there.
Right.
Yes. So yes.
Casualties.
Yes. So, pardon me?
Casualties?
It was never enough areas for us to take cover.
What about casualties?
Not in Kuwait, not during my time in Kuwait.
Uh-huh.
I did not see any casualties in Kuwait. However, we did hear about when the tent was bombed, the soldiers, threw a grenade in the tent.
Uh-huh.
There was fires in Kuwait, yes, but I was not a part of
You weren't there?
I was there, but not part of that command.
Okay.
Yes.
How many people were in your unit?
We had about 800 soldiers.
Okay, wow. All right.
Yeah, we had 800 soldiers.
Throughout your military career, by the way, how did you get along with enlisted and officers?
I get along really well with NCOs, officers. Only time I had a problem with an officer was when I was in Iraq. This is when we're over in Iraq, not Kuwait. We're in Iraq now, not Kuwait.
Mm-hmm.
So this time we're done traveled through the burn over to so now more stress because more responsibilities are required now and everything. So people and our leadership was not that great of a leadership.
Okay.
So things roll down.
How did you deal with the stress?
There was it was really challenging.
Mm-hmm.
There was a time that I had to actually move. I removed myself from that individual, to keep my sanity.
How did you manage to do that?
When they were using profanity and unnecessary things towards me, being that I was a platoon sergeant and taking care of things, so I had a lot of things going on,
Right.
and they did not understand that. So they wanted me to do way more than I thought was in my purview to do.
Right.
So when they started using profanity, I just put my kimono on and my batarata, and I went over to where the first sergeant's tent was, to work over there
Okay.
until we could get some type of medium going.
And you were able to remove yourself without causing yourself any administrative, without incurring any administrative disciplinary.
There was no disciplinary taking part because everyone knew how I was degraded openly, unnecessarily treated, stalked my tent after I would have done work 21-hour days, which was not really all necessary. So anyway, it reflected on my NCR. It reflected somewhat, even though the colonel had things changed. I would say it still had some bearing on my NCR.
Your appraisal?
On my appraisal, yeah, non-commissioned officer evaluation report, yes.
And what rank were you when you finally separated anyway?
I was E7.
E7.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Sergeant first class.
Sergeant first class.
Yes, sergeant first class.
I think we call E7 in the Air Force Chief Master Sergeant.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
No, that was the chief. Senior Master Sergeant.
Senior master sergeant.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so after the Middle East,
Mm-hmm.
next assignment.
That was it there.
That was it?
Yeah, I
So how long were you there altogether?
5 years.
5 years.
Yes.
I got it.
So I did not have to go back to Iraq. I
Right.
actually had some choices because stop loss happened. So I had to stay in the military, though my retirement packet was approved and everything. Stop loss happened, so I had to stay back. So I had 3 choices. I could go back to Iraq. I can go to DC and be 3rd ID's casualty liaison officer, or I could stay back and do FRG versus the CAG.
What is FRG?
Family Readiness Group.
And versus what? Versus
I had three choices.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I could either go to Iraq, back to Iraq, go to DC,
Uh-huh.
and be the 3rd Infantry Division Casualty Liaison Officer.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay. So what did you do?
So I ended up staying, and I ran the CAG.
Okay.
ID.
So where were you?
On Fort Stewart, Georgia, still.
In Georgia?
Yeah, still in Georgia, Fort Stewart.
Okay. So
Yes.
now you're GS or you're still military?
When?
Okay, I'm thinking that you separated.
I retired from there, yes.
Right. Okay.
I retired.
So after you retired, did you stay working for the government or not?
Yes, I did. Actually, I became a contractor in Wilmington, North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So I actually worked for I was doing mobilization specialist, and actually I was calling reserve soldiers that had deployed. I would call their families to check on their families and tell them about the programs, things that were offered to them, and everything. So I did that for about 16 months.
Okay.
And yeah, so then I moved onto a job on Fort Bragg.
And what level GS were you?
I started as a temp.
As a temp?
Yes, GS5 temp.
Okay. And you wound up?
Moving on up, I moved up the rank to, I retired 31 October as a GS11 Step 5.
GS11?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. So that was you finally, now we at 21 years?
I did 37 years total.
Total?
Yes.
Okay. And I take it after 37 years, you really retired?
I'm really retired now.
You didn't go apply for another job?
No, because when I left Fort Stewart, Georgia.
In other words, I'm asking you, what did you do after the military? And this is it?
Right.
Okay.
And I'm finished. This is it. You met me when I have finished everything.
Gotcha.
Thank God.
So tell me, I've just got a few more questions.
Yes.
Through your entire overall military career, 37 years, being affiliated with the government,
Okay.
two of your most memorable instances at the top.
At the top.
I mean, yeah, what stands out in your mind the most? Two instances.
It mostly stands out because we like to know that we did some good.
Right.
So, of course, being a drill sergeant was the greatest thing. Impacting and influencing soldiers, training soldiers.
Young people.
Yeah, that's the best ever. I mean, that's the best ever. You could not ever just slide that up under the rug as if that didn't happen.
Right.
So, yeah, so having that impact on soldiers, and also in Korea, having the good friends that I had in Korea to get me through that timeline for that year, and I had young soldiers again. And so it really meant that you needed to take care of soldiers. So once again, I had the opportunity to take care of young soldiers, new to the military.
Right.
So that was very profound time in my career, I would say.
Okay.
It's not, it wasn't the accolades so much, it was the giving.
What you got out of it, you felt like you had impacted.
Yes.
It made you feel good to know that you had impacted these young people.
Yes, for sure.
And the second memory?
Second memory, it would be Iraq.
I know.
Of course, being shot at, being,
So you were under fire?
Yes, I was under fire a couple of times. I was under fire, I had to dismount my vehicle a couple of times because the enemy was in the area. I'm lost in the desert, being pulled because the vehicle, the dirt in the Humvees. Oh, so we would be in a hot zone.
I understand.
So that was really, that's where I got a lot of the traumatic incidents in my head, anxiety from that.
PTSD?
PTSD, yes, sir. And so especially when I had to dismount the vehicle and I couldn't see, it was dark. We didn't have no scope. At night, we didn't have no scope on our weapons. It really was.
Did you have a weapon?
Yes, of course I had a
Oh,
weapon.
of course. You have 16?
Of course, yes. It was in the ready.
And I was wondering.
Yes. So those times was really different. And then but particularly was the time I told you about was in Kuwait. we was in Kuwait because of all the biological chemicals.
Right,
So that meant I had to don a mask.
right.
Okay. So I would dream about that mask, you know, sucking in my face
Right,
at night.
yeah.
So that was a traumatic type thing there. So, yes. And this one time when I finally did get a chance to take a shower, actually a shower.
Uh-huh. A real shower?
A real shower after 30-some days. A real shower. When I came out of the, it was a trailer with showers in them. It was dark and you really just can't see. It was raining. And so actually, it was a moment there that I lost my way.
Uh-huh.
I went left, I went right. And it was, I still think about that. I didn't know which way to go.
So what happened?
Eventually, I prayed.
Huh?
I prayed.
Yeah.
Prayed, of course.
Uh-huh.
And so there was, the MPs was bringing a convoy in.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, wow, how did I end up way over here? I'm about outside the perimeter, about to get shot.
Oh my God.
You know, and everything. So yes, you know, just because I really wanted that shower.
I understand.
Even though it was raining, like the dust, you know, still getting dirty back over again, but at least like I said, I took a shower, right? So I paid the cost for doing it at nighttime.
I hear you.
Late, but yes. So I have a lot of things like that.
Have you stayed in touch with any of your military friends after the service?
I have military friends that, yes, but not necessarily the ones I was in Iraq with. You know, I haven't seen them. I just haven't seen them.
There were some others, right?
Yes.
That you stayed in communication with.
Yes.
Okay, just a few more questions.
Okay.
Have you mentioned all the places that you visited on R&R? Tell me all the places you visited that you have not already mentioned.
Well, I went to Paris. I was in Paris, France. You know, yes, sir.
That's the only place you left out?
I believe so.
Okay. You didn't make it to Hawaii?
Yes, I went to Hawaii doing my civilian job.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Where else did you travel during your civilian job?
Mostly over the U.S.
Okay.
California,
Around the
Salt
country?
Lake, Utah, yeah, places like that.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. Okay. Did you use the GI Bill for anything? Did you?
Yes, I did.
Education?
Yes, I completed my bachelor's with the GI Bill.
What'd you major in?
My bachelor's degree is in liberal arts.
Okay. All
Yes.
right. And what university?
With university, well, I went to a couple of universities, but Excelsior University is who I have my degree with.
Did you go there physically or did you do it online?
It was online, but I went and walked on the commencement ceremony.
Right.
I actually went to New York. Yes,
Okay.
Amara, New York.
Okay.
Sure
Okay.
did.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. Did your military experience influence your thinking about war or about the military in general?
Can you repeat that question?
Sure. Did your military experience influence your thinking about war or about the military in general?
The war.
How so?
How so is because wars are always going on. And I ask myself, why was I really there? What was the reasoning of me having to be shot at, to be in danger, putting other people in danger, and so many soldiers being killed? Was it really worth the tour? Was it really worth, the war really worth being there? Was it just for the political, the oil business? It's still in my mind, yes. Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes.
And last question is, how did your service and experiences affect your life?
I would say that it has been positive for me being able to make a living, you know, live a decent life, you know, financially, helped quite a bit. In educational, to be able to get the education and the skills, you need to be able to process
Right.
life itself, because there's so many resources that the VA offer, military offer to soldiers, that you just can't get it free if you're just a regular civilian.
Gotcha.
Yes.
As far as being a female, and as far as being a black female, negative instances that you may have or may not have experienced due to you being a woman or a person of color. Did you experience any of these negatives throughout your career?
Quite frequently, yes.
Really?
Yes, for sure.
Can you share a couple?
Well, I won't use names.
No, you don't.
But yeah, I had an officer to tell me that did not want a woman driving him in the desert.
What?
Yes. He didn't want a woman driving him in the desert.
He didn't want that.
No, he didn't want that. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And how did you handle that?
I don't know what I can't remember exactly what I said. But I just listened to them because he wasn't gonna drive.
Huh?
He wasn't gonna drive. I drove. That's how that went down.
Okay.
You see. So yes.
So, beyond that, anything else, or just, well, as you said, throughout your
Yeah, I was pretty
your
a
career?
lot of times I was not as verbal. So I was probably just pray about things when people would treat me bad, or treat me make me realize that I'm black.
Right.
In that sense. Yes. So I didn't I'm not a person that focused on color.
Right.
It was about the individual. So most times it was because those individuals that focused on color made me realize that I'm a black female. So on the trail, when I was on the trail as a drill sergeant, that was very challenging because you had to combat arms guys. So they didn't think that females could stand up to the test.
Right.
So you had to hold your own
Right.
and more.
You had to prove yourself.
Prove yourself in those positions. And as the platoon sergeant doing the leadership course there as an instructor. So when I was in Iraq, I was platoon sergeant, even though there was master sergeants, males, and everything. But because of the drill sergeant training, they wanted me to do the work. So I was. So there it was. So they got out of it. So I was that person.
Well, I want to thank you for a wonderful interview and thank you for your service. But I'd also like to ask you before we close, is there anything else that you feel like you'd like to share with us?
No, so not at this time.
You good?
Yeah, I think I'm good. I just wanted to say that the military is a great experience. I still tell young men, young women, do 4 years, get a skill out of it. If you don't like it, come out.
Okay.
So I can't say it was all bad. Right. Yes, sir.
But so in other words, you strongly suggest, I don't want to put words in your mouth. I work with a lot of students.
Yes.
So.
Yes. I suggest that it's a start. You have to start somewhere in life. Okay, so you're not a grown-up quite. You think you're grown at age 17, 18.
Right.
So, and you really don't know like you think you should know in life. So the military for 4 years will help you be that young woman or young man that you want to be, because you're smart. You can pick and choose the career you want. You don't necessarily have to be the Army. It could be the Air Force or the Navy, Marine Corps. So you have options, which is great. So it's a great skill builder, life builder for you. A great start. Yes.
I want to thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for having me.